Hi and welcome to Best in Tesla. So we hear about solid-state batteries all the time and how they will revolutionize the electric car. But I actually think the solid-state battery is not going to be such a big deal in the switch to EVs, but only become something after we have made the switch to EVs. Because we do hear about a lot of great breakthroughs in charging speed and range and so on, but the thing that matters the most in the EV race right now, no one but Tesla has designed into the battery itself, because the others have been focusing on making the battery better with more range and more charging speed and so on, but at the end of this decade, all of that will no longer matter. So let me try to explain why, and let's dive right in. So solid-state batteries still have a long way to go, just like lithium batteries have been on quite the journey. We started working on lithium-ion batteries back in the 1970s in the lab, but it was not before 1985 we got a prototype, and then again not before 1991 that Sony finally commercialized it. And again in 1996 GM made an EV, but with lead-acid battery, because the lithium technology was not good enough and way too expensive to go into a car, and of course GM killed the EV1 they made. And first in 2008 Tesla came and showed it was possible to make a car with good performance, decent range with lithium-ion batteries. But the price of the battery was still over $1,000 per kilowatt hour at that point, 38 years after the breakthrough in the lab, and is only now coming down towards $100 per kilowatt hour, and that is 35 years after the first prototype came out in 1985. So not saying that solid-state battery will take this long to get good and cheap enough to be in the car industry, but only trying to say there is a long way from a prototype to mass production. And I do think the war for the market share in the EV market is already happening now. So I don't think we will see anything meaningful in this decade when it comes to solid-state batteries. Let's try to look at some of the things that have been announced so far. Toyota will introduce the first electric car with a solid-state battery in 2028. So that is not going to be in any high volume this decade. And the specs they have given are not that impressive. 500 kilometers of range on one charge. Well, that is not that impressive. I can get my 2019 Tesla Model 3 long range to do that if I drive it nice and slow. If you don't believe me, see my first ever video here on YouTube, or please don't. But anyway, where I got my Tesla Model 3 over 570 kilometers. The Toyota solid-state battery can charge from 0 to 100 in only 10 minutes. Now that is great. And will still have about 80% of charge after 240,000 miles. That is also very good. But again, my almost 3-year-old Tesla that has done over 100,000 miles still have about 95% of charge. And it doesn't really seem to be going down much anymore, but have kind of leveled out over the last 20 to 40,000 kilometers. But so it is a nice step forward with solid-state battery in many ways, especially in the safety. But I just compared it to my Tesla Model 3 that is 3-year-old, and that is about to become very obsolete with the new 4680 cells that Tesla will come out with. They should easily last 1 million miles, probably 2 million miles. We don't know how fast, but they should be able to charge much faster and have about 54% more range, so the battery should be very close in performance to what we see of some of these prototype of solid-state batteries. So the 4680 cell will make the EV even better, and I think the electric car is already good enough. The only thing we are really missing is the price to come down, but the Tesla battery will do that as well. It will be 56% cheaper to produce than the old batteries. And Sandy Munro knows pretty close what Tesla's batteries cost and all the others he has ripped apart, but Tesla's old battery was about $108 per kilowatt hour according to Sandy Munro. And their new battery will save them 56%, so that means the cost of their battery will be about $48 per kilowatt. but that battery will still have about 45% more range. Said in another way, a Tesla with 300 miles of range with the old battery would cost $8,100, but with the new battery, Tesla should be able to go to 450 miles on the batteries that would cost only $3,568. This is not a small change, this is a big leap, but the question is, would Tesla even put in 75 kilowatt hours of battery anymore? Will they make their cars in the coming years go 450 miles, or will they keep their miles just above 300 miles and then just put in less batteries, making the battery pack even cheaper, and Tesla would be able to produce even more cars with the same amount of batteries? Well, we have to wait and see what Tesla will do, but when Tesla gets to their 100 gigawatt hours run rate of production of their 4680 cells, hopefully this year, they would be able to make 1.8 million Model 3s with 330 miles of range instead of 1.3 million Model 3s with the old batteries. So they will be able to produce a lot more cars with the same amount of batteries, maybe 500,000 more on every 100 gigawatt hours of batteries compared to the old batteries. And Tesla is aiming for 3,000 gigawatt hours in 2030. And the little compact car will probably need even less batteries, so the sheer amount of cars Tesla will be able to produce just because of the extra range the new battery will give them alone is just crazy. But then add on the thing that matters the most, and that is the sheer amount of battery Tesla is able to produce. 3,000 gigawatts in 2030. Maybe even before, as Elon said. This is a game changer. Tesla has designed their batteries to be fast to produce, and this is where the solid-state batteries so far has fallen short. We are still seeing people standing there with their hands in plastic tube making solid-state batteries, so these solid-state batteries will not be produced in any high volume just yet. And that is right now the most important thing. It doesn't matter if your car can drive 5,000 kilometers if you can only make about 100 gigawatt hours a year. We need thousands of gigawatts a year, and that is what Tesla's battery can do. It is still a much better battery than the old battery, but maybe not as good as a solid-state battery that is coming at some point. But Tesla will produce 3,000 gigawatt of their batteries long before anyone will produce about 300 gigawatt hours of solid-state battery. That is my guess anyway, and that is why Tesla's new battery is so important and will set Tesla apart from everyone else. And the others haven't even caught up to Tesla's old battery technology yet. No one has a car like the Tesla Model 3 with that range, that performance, that charging speed, and that sticker price all in one car. No one. And we do hear a lot about great new breakthroughs, also not just in solid-state batteries, but like GAC's Ion V6C. What a mouthful. But that promised 8-minute charging time. 1,000 kilometers of range, that is NEDC of course, not even damn close, so maybe something like 600 kilometers EPA, so still good, but not close to the 1,000 kilometers in real life. But forget the kilometers, the real game changer here is the charging speed of up to 480 kilowatts of charging. So the Ion should be able to charge from 0 to 80% in only 8 minutes and 30 to 80% in only 5 minutes. So that is pretty amazing, especially if the car has 600 miles of range. But right now they only have one charging station up in China, so they still have quite a long way to go before this technology will be something the Chinese people will really start to enjoy, and even longer before this will come to Europe and the US and so on. And they should just have started the launch of this car in their showroom in China, so we will see how many they will be able to produce, because GAC did only produce about 123,000 EVs in 2021, so they also have a very long way to go to ramp up production, but has also announced a new plant they will build, but that will only have the production capacity of 200,000 cars, so not yet a Tesla ramp up here, but definitely one to keep an eye on. But BMW is also talking about the solid-state battery, saying they will be testing a solid-state battery in their cars this year, 2022. We have seen them say before 2030 and then 2025 before. Actually, all of these timelines has been said in 2021, so we should probably take the timelines with a grain of salt, but BMW has also said that the testing of the battery would be years ahead of real production. So again, I don't really expect them to do anything noticeable when it comes to the production in this half of the decade. Just like QuantumScape that says they have a breakthrough in solid-state battery, but they will not have more than 90 gigawatt hours of production in 2028 according to their targets. But it will of course be very interesting to see what BMW will come up with, also in terms of specs of the battery, because we still don't really know anything about the solid-state battery yet, but hopefully we will learn more this year. And even Toyota, as I mentioned, said they have a breakthrough in solid-state battery, but again, it's only testing it right now in a prototype. So we are talking many years before it comes out with something that can be produced in the thousands of gigawatt hours. And many others are talking about breakthroughs in batteries, like Addendum, just to mention one that promised 2,400 kilometers in its battery, but that can't be recharged, so great. And remember, Fisker also promised us a solid-state battery as well, but they have banned it all together. So far, it's all in the lab and prototypes, just like the lithium-ion battery was in 1985. So to expect anything in high volume with a good price this decade just seems very unlikely to me. So this is why I think solid-state batteries are not really going to be very important in the switch to EVs, because that is already happening, but solid-state batteries in high volume are at least 10 years out in my opinion. And I do believe the race for EVs is going to be this decade. And at the same time, I believe we will have full self-driving cars this decade. So battery technology will hardly matter anymore after 2030. Nobody is going to care what is inside the robotaxi you're driving. It doesn't matter if it takes 20 minutes to charge instead of 10 minutes to charge, because you will never charge. It doesn't matter if they have 1,000 kilometers of range instead of 600 kilometers of range. It doesn't matter if the battery costs 2,000 or 4,000 when the car will earn you $30,000 every single year of its lifetime. It doesn't matter. And the solid-state battery came too late to matter in the car industry's switch to EVs. It will of course help everyone afterwards, lowering the price even further for the automakers, make the battery safer and all of that, so that is great. But I don't think it will do much before most of the car industry's new car sales are all EVs anyway. And at that point we will have the losers and the winner in the industry in this race to switch everything to EVs. Maybe they can come in and do something in the plane and cargo ship industry. But again, the scale of production is going to matter even more here, because the planes and cargo ships are going to eat up a lot of batteries. So I think the one that could come with a solid-state battery where the production of it has been designed into it, just like Tesla has done with their 4680 cell, will bring something very special and important to the world. But we will see how it all goes in this very exciting decade we have in front of us. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.